This is Ready, Set, Reiki, a podcast about Reiki and all energy work. From the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey, I refer to myself as a guide rather than host, as I too am traveling, learning, and supporting others on this journey as well. And with that said, I am your guide, Tracy Seawright, and this is Ready, Set, Reiki. Hello, Reiki family. Reiki blessings to you, one and all. Here we are again on another amazing and wonderful journey. So let me tell you about my next guest. Here we go. Next guest is David Andrew Larsen. Now, he is a Reiki practitioner with a passion for helping others to help reconnect themselves on a deeper level. Now, he's been practicing for 3 years and recently joined True Path Collective, a holistic wellness company based in Port Perry, Ontario. Now, he has an amazing journey to share with you, and I can't wait to hear how his story has unfolded. But know that each of his sessions is enriched with a healing vibration of sound therapy, tuning forks, crystals, rain sticks, and smudging, allowing the energy to flow freely and the experience to unfold to a deeper level. Now, when he's not offering Reiki, you're going to find him exploring mindfulness, nature, or simple moments of stillness, all things that inspire him to live with more presence and gratitude. So let's give a Ready, Set, Reiki welcome to David Andrew Larsen.
Yay!
And welcome to Ready, Set, Reiki. So I told our listeners a little bit about you. So tell us about yourself.
A little bit about myself. Right now. I'm just doing like what I do is I'll do a little Reiki energy, and I'm just doing a little Reiki energy healing for you and your listeners. So let me push that through. That's good. I love that. Yeah. So I grew up in Toronto. Hey, Blue Jays. Well, unfortunately, did not really happen this year. But like typically, I started my Reiki journey a little bit later in my life. So this is like about 3 years ago, but typically what I was doing in my career was in communication and design. So advertising and working with a lot of, advertising agencies within Toronto, which is a very tough career, of course, whatever. But anyways, I loved it. I'm a very creative person. I do photography, I do painting, and that was sort of my career main, like the go-to thing that I did. Now I am trying my hardest to integrate my Reiki awakening, if you will, because I have just discovered myself as a Reiki practitioner, and I've learned and I've studied it. And now I'm just kind of like pushing forward to a beautiful new career. And I think it's actually interesting that you can actually take a career in your midlife, if you will. I'm not that old, but I am, but anyways, I think it's really interesting to actually change your career and make a new career opportunity for yourself.
Isn't that wonderful? And I don't know if you heard the update about Azui Sensei, that his resume was recently uncovered.
Yes.
And this announcement came in April, and seeing how he shifted and changed many times in his career until he connected with that energy.
Yeah, I actually find, with COVID, to be honest, COVID was a really interesting time for all of us, I think. And as we progressed after COVID, I kind of went from a sort of a change for myself. I don't know what it was, but it just kind of like opened up this new possibility for holistic practices for myself. And that's when I just said, you know what, I used to know, I used to dabble in, Reiki and stuff like that. But then I said, I gotta learn it. I gotta figure out how to do it properly. And so I learned through a practitioner, and it's lovely. I loved it. It was so amazing, and it just excited me. And this is where I'm at now. It's my new energy.
Beautiful. And it's just amazing how the energy, I guess, of COVID shifted and changed all of us, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, it really kind of woke us up, some of us, not all of us, but some of us up to what do we really want to do? How can we shift and change our life in a direction where there's more purpose, more meaning to it?
Yeah. And I find also, like, now the times, if you think about the times, especially, the political times and stuff like that, and what's happening and the changes, how to become a little bit more like just like understand your own sensibility and just kind of like I find a lot of people are there's a lot of stress and tension in the world, and I want to reduce that for people. And what I'm doing through my practice is to release some of that stress and tension for people and let them explore their own energy and their own potential. Because what's happening is they're just allowing people to absorb the other people's energy. And what they're not doing is saying, this is my energy, I'm good, this is who I am, and I'm not going to allow that to affect me.
Beautiful. Well, we met on this journey from our beautiful mutual friend, Christian Standing Stone, a
Yes.
beautiful energy. He has the Reiki podcast for business. You know, he has his fabulous book, and he's doing amazing and wonderful things in Reiki here. So tell us, how did Reiki come about? Did Reiki find you, or did you find Reiki?
It's funny. So we're like 24 years ago, I actually went to Transformational Arts College in Toronto. So that was just like sort of like a night course that I decided to join. And until then, like once I did, like there's meditational aspects to it. There's a whole bunch of different things like Reiki and practices. And until I actually kind of got into it and experienced how they could promote or like help me understand my energy levels or my energy potential, that's when I just like it just blew up on fire. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. I actually do have the energy. And then it was, when I continued on with my career and stuff like that. And then almost every year, I kind of felt I need to experience this and practice this a little bit more. Now it came to now, which, 3 years ago, I guess. But I really felt a desire and just something that just said to me, you need to do this on a full-time basis. And so I said, let's do it. Let's first of all, like understand how it works. Get someone who actually is a professional to teach me how to do it. Set up a business. It's all very complicated. It's very scary. And it's challenging, but I love it. It's amazing. And from that, there's things that I'm offering different classes, which are when you're doing something that's really new, it's very scary and a little bit challenging. But when you do it, you just let it go and see what happens. And I kind of feel like the universe says, whatever happens, happens. You just have to get rid of the worrying about stuff and just let it flow. And that's just motto I always take.
I always say sometimes you got to get out of your own way and let the Reiki handle it.
It's like, we're not the people that are actually influencing. It's like, you're just like you're the medium, if you will, like, the energy will flow through you. And, you're not the one, kind of making the energy work. You're the one that is just kind of providing the energy for other people. So, you always have to get yourself out of that mindset that you're the one doing it. It's not that, it's the energy doing it for you, kind of thing.
Beautiful. Now, as you have shifted and changed to have this a full-time business, as you've gone out, as you've learned, as you've practiced, as you've connected with people, and you've shared with people, this is my chosen path now. I'm choosing to do this full-time. What are some misconceptions about Reiki that people come to you and say about, wow, Reiki, I heard this and that about it?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that I've met and treated that are very skeptical about Reiki because it is energy, right? So what people don't tend to understand is that Reiki is something that you can't tangibly see or feel, right? So it's not like, a massage therapist will literally, touch the muscles and do whatever, or a chiropractor, that kind of thing. Reiki is a very, in a weird way, spiritual energy, which I think is hard to grasp for most people. But once they experience, like when I do a Reiki session, even on people that have told me I'm very skeptical about it, once they see it and feel it and step away from it, all of them, like I'm saying, all of them always feel like a sense of relief and beautiful energy. And it's usually sometimes takes about 12 to 24 hours. And it's like from there, they kind of go, oh, wow, this actually does work. It's not like just sort of like a woo woo. That's what my mom always says, woo woo stuff. And I'm going to share a little interesting story about that. My grandmother, so my mom's mom, so whenever they were sick, my mom and her kids, she would actually go and do like a little, a healing moment or a hand wave against them when they were sick. And my mom was like, well, what is that? I said, well, that's Reiki, Mom. That is totally what Reiki is about.
Yeah.
I did not understand anything about what Reiki was. But when she told me that, I went, oh, that's really interesting, because my grandmother kind of had this interesting, thought about Reiki. And it was her intuition to just kind of like hover her hand over a body. And so that to me was maybe I got it inherited to me. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it was really cool to hear that experience.
Yeah. It's just even amazing as a young mom, before I even knew about Reiki, I was doing that as well, like intuitive when they were sick and not feeling well. It's
Yeah.
just almost like it was ingrained into your soul.
Yeah, or her, like, yeah, basically it's almost like what she decided to feel or do. I mean, it's intuition for me as well. Half the things that I do with Reiki or any practice that I do is just intuition. Like
Mhm.
sometimes, like I always find that people are all different. Whatever I do for people and experience that different energy level is always something new for me. So I kind of concentrate on the person versus sort of the experience itself. And,
Mhm.
I will target certain areas and, and provide that experience for different people.
Right,
So,
right. And this is definitely a modality that you have to experience. I always
yes.
tell people it's like me telling you, you have to try this great pizza. It's amazing. It's the best in the world. And then you'll take a bite out of it, like, you're crazy. This is not the best pizza ever, right? So
Pineapple, really? It's like,
so it's
yeah,
just an individual, connection with it. So
yeah.
now you help individuals, you help your clients and your students find stillness and balance, help
Yeah.
them through their challenges. So what have been some of the challenges you've experienced in your own healing journey?
The experiences for myself is just, I think the one thing that really resonates for me, especially when I started with this journey of Reiki, is believing in it itself, like believing in the energy that you provide to other people. The one thing, whenever I do a Reiki session, I'm always saying, oh, I hope that this person is going to sort of like, just have some great, beautiful energy, session with me. And then I had to kind of like, and I know Kristen he's very good at this too. He said, do not think so much about that. It's not about your interpretation of what's going to happen with the Reiki session. It's literally just you are facilitating the energy, and it will do whatever it needs to do. It is, you cannot control it. It is just going to like flow. If it flows, and it will flow. And the great thing about that perception, when you keep hearing that, and it's still something that always resonates in my mind about, I have to do this, I have to, be the greatest. No, it's about let it go, don't overthink it, and just let the energy flow. That's it. If you overthink it, then you start getting to that weird place where it's just not going to work as effectively. And once I just kind of like succumb to it, it's all good. And it,
Yeah.
it, it does. Yeah. Half the time when I'm doing Reiki on person, I become more calm and I become more reflective and grounded, if that makes sense. It's
Beautiful.
beautiful. It's almost like a win-win situation with
Sure,
me.
sure. I had
Yeah.
a master teacher tell a story once of when she was working with a client, and the client after the session asked, "Well, what do you think about when you give me Reiki?" And she answered, "My groceries. I think of my grocery list." She's like, "What?" She's like, yeah, I was thinking of my groceries. Because she trusted that it's going to go exactly where it needs to go.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. And half the time, like I would say about 95, I would say even more than 95%. Most of my clients, when after they wake up, like I usually do, like they're usually on their back, and I, treat their back, and then we flip them over. But after the session, they are every single one of them kind of wake up and like, oh my goodness, where like where am I? I am very calm and reflective, and then even after, I always ask them, at the next day, please, because it takes about 12 to 24 hours really to complete a session, to be honest. So I always ask them to please reply to me and like via email or text or something, and every single one of them say, oh my God, I've had the best sleep. I had someone who had major PTSD, and he was very skeptical about Reiki. And I treated him, and he told me the next day through text, he goes, I slept through 3 alarms. So I've never had a better sleep in my life.
Yeah.
I have so much less anxiety throughout my, like, it's incredible once people receive the energy and understand it, and even distant Reiki, that is a really challenging one for people to understand. Being online, say for instance, and I'm doing a Reiki session, they go, well, how do you do that? And I'm like, it will happen.
Sure.
And I've done it so many times, and I actually feel more energy from people I've been treating online versus in person, weirdly enough. But maybe that's just, my energy being a little bit more excited, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So yeah, it's amazing from what I'm hearing from people.
Yeah, I think people don't understand. And when you watch something on the news or you watch a movie or you hear a song, it affects you
Oh yeah,
emotionally. Like
yeah,
you can stir up memories and it can make you happy or sad. You can watch something unfold live on the news and you
yeah,
can feel it, whether it's agony or triumphant or whatever. And I think people just don't understand that's the same energy. That's the same energy that you're connecting with. Like, hello on the phone. Hey, it's great to hear your voice, right? Oh my
yeah,
goodness. And that's what that's all about. So I think people who are those that don't believe it, you have to try it,
yeah.
and
And
um,
see, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
when people ask like, well, what happens if I fall asleep? Great. I'll take it as a compliment.
I'm totally okay with it, because when I do Reiki, I usually put like sound wave, like an alpha wave or some kind of
Mhm.
sound tune or sound wave to it,
Yeah.
and then they kind of like just kind of almost fall asleep, which is great. And then it's kind of hard when you have to flip them over because
Oh
then
yeah.
they're okay with it, but they're like when I
Yeah.
flip them over, they're like, oh, I was so relaxed and so good.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I have to do the backside. So
Yeah. I just usually go under the table. I haven't been flipping them too much anymore.
it's part of me kind of goes like, maybe I should start trying that, because it's like they're so relaxed that maybe it's better to kind of
Yeah,
just.
yeah. And even I know some students of mine, they use like a surrogate or a doll and they flip the doll over and
Yeah.
they do it that way too. Yeah, I hate to turn them over, especially when they're
Oh, they're
asleep.
so relaxed, and they're like, I love when they wake up and they're like, they just sit there and they look at me and they go like, what has happened to me? I love that feeling. It's like that makes me so happy when people kind of like get that sense of understanding that I'm providing energy towards their body,
Sure.
and they're just like they have never discovered that before as far as their own energy. It's
Beautiful.
beautiful. It's a beautiful experience.
So when it is time for you to get an energetic tune up, and if you don't go out to other practitioners for a tune up, you can use this example for a teacher that you train with. What are some qualities that you look for in someone who is a Reiki practitioner or a Reiki master teacher?
Yeah, so I would say that much like myself, it's hard to answer that question because I really don't. I don't look out or go to other Reiki practitioners to
Mhm.
do my own thing.
Yeah,
But what I would say with that question is that I would say to any Reiki practitioner out there, my thing would be look, like what I do myself is just look for any kind of thing. Like I go on to, whether it's YouTube or I'm on Mind Valley right now. I'm assuming that some of your people or you or whoever knows about Mind Valley. It's a very, really strong practice. So you can actually go on there and they have beautiful, beautiful things like hypnotherapy or meditational experiences. I'm pretty much on that. And I learned so many different new things. Like I absorb other people. Like it doesn't have to be about Reiki too, because you can add things on Reiki. You can add meditation. You can add hypnotherapy. You can add a whole bunch of different practices to Reiki. I try to also do like, being in the present moment before we start a session, which means like you just kind of understand your body, kind of do a scan, and then we move forward into, creating a better energy level for you. But you need to kind of go back to the basics of who you are, what you are feeling at the moment before we progress. So my thing is like, educate yourself, learn new things, just all these beautiful tools. There's so much there to learn. I will never stop learning. I will never stop learning. It's going to be a constant learning session for me.
Right.
I have different tools. Like I said, we have like tuning forks and just there's a gong that we have in our practice space that I love using. It is so cool. And it just kind of like resonates energy. And it's because of that, like the tools that I've seen and I'm using, that helps me. My intuition is like, use it, make it work with your Reiki practitioner. For me, it's like I use every kind of tool I possibly can, and it's all about the individual as well.
Beautiful. Is there any particular red flag that you would advise someone who's new to Reiki, they're exploring, they're getting on different places like TikTok or YouTube? What is an absolute no? Stay away and run.
Oh boy, what what can I say? You know what? I'll be honest. It's not about don't say no to anything. Try anything. The problem that I think we all face is, I'll be honest, like me marketing myself, whether it's YouTube or any other social media platform, just just go and do it. My advice is like nothing's out of bounds. Like just see what happens. I must admit that I was doing something called Reiki Intro as a class, and it was in Port Perry. It wasn't resonating with people, like as far as the word or whatever that was going to be. So I'm kind of doing like more of a meditational kind of experience, which I found that the only way you can succeed and create more attention is to understand what people want and what people resonate with. So I'll be honest, there's nothing that says don't do it. Just try what you can do and see what people gravitate towards. That's the best way. And you know what? Just explore and experiment. There's
Yeah.
nothing. There's nothing that you should not do. Try it and see what happens.
Now, many practitioners, once they get that level 2, they have the calling to do this full time, and which you are doing now. So, what advice do you give someone who's just starting out into this spiritual work?
You know what? Just believe in yourself. The problem with me was that I was always self-doubting what I was doing. You know what? That's what you do. And Kristen, I know I've been on a lot of his. I mean, it's not only him, and I love his podcasts, and I love being on his sessions. But it always resonates with me that people always self-doubt themselves. I've heard people go like, "Oh, I've been in this Reiki business and I'm doing this Reiki practice and I've had 0 clients." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, yes, that can be an option, but you're not." In a weird way, I kind of go, "Maybe you're not doing enough. I don't know." But for me, I know how hard of a struggle it is to maintain this business and to just let people understand what it is. Once they get into it, and once they have a session, believe me, it's like, they tell another person, they tell another person, and it's a beautiful situation. Do not give up. Like, keep going forward. It is the most important thing to believe in yourself. And when you don't, just do what you're supposed to do to other clients, do Reiki on yourself and calm yourself down. Allow yourself to believe in yourself, and just hold that beautiful energy within. Because if you give up, or you have, like, everybody will have that, trust in what's going to happen to the universe. The best thing I can say is that sometimes when things went really difficult for me, I went to the universe and said, "Universe energy, please give me something that." And it's funny. It usually happened that something the next day would always happen. It was a beautiful situation or energy level, much like this podcast. I think that when I reached out to Kristen, I was like, something came to me, and it was a beautiful energy, and it was meant to be.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
this
that,
just shows you the beautiful community together of networking and working together and not gatekeeping and supporting each other, because when one of us wins, we all win. Like, it's just
we
this
all
collective
win.
win.
And
Yeah.
that is the most beautiful thing, is when community comes together. Because what I think is, a lot of people just think like they're by themselves, and they just think about their business by themselves. When you
Yeah.
engage in a community, wow, they open up like big
Right.
time. So I
Right.
find, reach out to community, reach out to people, and believe in yourself.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
I
it.
mean, we've got, Reiki roundtables, right? We've got Reiki summits. We've got all kinds of things. So you don't have to be on this island alone. It's
Oh,
really, you have a lot of great people out there that are supportive. And you might run across, unfortunately, one or two gatekeepers, but I think that's in every profession.
there are some
Majority of
skeptics.
the people are very kind and supportive, and yeah, all good.
There could
So
be really bad people out there on the internet, for sure, but you know what? What you try to do is I find, just manage the people that you. It's like, I also do. Just I take people's energy out of the things that other people absorb. Like, so you might, like, say you take a person and you're like, oh, you're absorbing their energy, their bad energy. I will take that away from them, and I will notice that in their body energy, and so I will take those negative things that are implanted in our bodies, if that makes sense, and I will get rid of them. So yeah, everybody's going to be absorbing different stuff.
So, what books do you recommend?
Okay, so here's the thing. I do not read a lot of books. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna say my go-to is always like just more live stream action, like podcasts, YouTube thing. I don't know what it is. Books. I've never been a big, huge book reader. So, sorry about that, but
Yeah,
I'm more
okay.
into, like, things like Mind Valley, which is a
Mhm.
great platform. I'm more into the kind of, like I said, the YouTube and things that are just more engaging, real live action kind of things, and that's where I kind of tend to learn more from. And I will kind of like pick and choose. Like, sometimes I'll pick something and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. It's meditation or something like that, and I'll, like, kind of listen to it. If it's for me, great, I'll follow through with it. And if it's not, I'll just go, okay, that's great. That's not really for me. But mostly, I typically go to all of the typical online kind of things, which, you know what, that's just my thing. That's my go-to.
Perfect. So, do you offer any classes, trainings, any events coming up?
Yep. So I do. So in Port Perry, I do a live session every Tuesdays from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. I initially called it Reiki Intro. So that was sort of like me to introduce Reiki to a group session. And that was like a better price point intro, if you will, versus like a full Reiki session for 15 minutes. But it was good to, and I actually have done some really interesting group sessions with a lot of people. They really resonated really well. And I love the fact that everybody's got this beautiful energy. It's like almost a circle of energy, and they feed off each other. It's beautiful. I've kind of adapted it because I want to change it every so often, not necessarily only Reiki. So I'm doing like a Reiki, meditational aspect, because I find Reiki is also meditational. And so I'm kind of creating a more meditational aspect to it. And that, like I said, it's more in person, but I am going to be introducing something called morning Reiki. And it hasn't happened yet. I'm still in the process of doing this, but come to dalreiki.ca. It's going to happen around like 7. I know you guys are like, some of you are like Pacific Standard Time. I'm in Eastern Standard Time. I'm hoping to do around 7 to 7:30 or something for an hour. And what I want to do is introduce Reiki as a startup for your beautiful connection to the world and yourself. And this is what's going to happen. You're going to just have this great energy session from me, and it's going to be, you're going to explode. It's going to be great. So that might happen next week. It's one of those things where I have to do sort of like, understand creating the session times, and just sort of understanding what the platform is going to be for myself. But expect that in the next 2 weeks at least. It's going to be wonderful.
Sounds beautiful. So where can we find you if we want to get in touch with you, book a session, find all the wonderful things that you do?
DALReiki.ca, not .com. That is the one thing. .com. Yeah, I mean, I tried doing that. It's not available. So .ca. So that's Canada. Thank you very much. Go there. That's where I update everything. I can add you to a newsletter. My email is also there, so you can always email me under information, contact information. So email me through that if you need to, if you want to. You can see all of my courses. Everything that's going to be updated is under my sessions. So there's a section for it. So take a look at that. It's always updated, gives you the price points, gives you the times, and you can book any kind of session through there. So that is the go-to place. I also will say that I've created a group called Holistic Huddle on Facebook group page. Holistic Huddle. It is basically for everybody, not just Reiki people, but anybody who's in the holistic practice, no matter where you're at. It's a great place for people to engage and just share their business ideas, struggles, whatever it may be. So go there as well. That's sort of my secondary platform that I'm trying to help everybody in this business to move forward.
All right, wonderful. Well, that ends the first part of our journey. I'm going to guide you to the second part, which is the questions from Reiki students and social media. So here we go. Number 1. How can enriching sound therapy, tuning forks, crystal bowls, and rain sticks enrich a Reiki session?
Okay, well, obviously, when we think about things like tuning forks or like all those kind of tools that I use, your atoms, molecule, there is a resonating frequency to them, right? Like, I mean, your body. The way I'm going to describe it is that your body is 99.9999999. There's a whole bunch of nines there. % energy and 0.0000001% matter. And so I kind of go like, okay, if that's the case, then most of your body is obviously energy. So these tools like tuning forks or any like sound vibrations, typically alpha waves, they are all specifically tuned into each either chakra, which typically is what we do. So each tuning fork that I have is always specifically tuned to each chakra level and hertz. So every kind of a situation where those chakras need a certain vibration set. So I use those things to actually activate those chakras, if that makes sense. So that's why I use those. The things like smudging, smudging is basically a smoke that is based on sage. that I burn. That on top of the rain sticks, those are more for grounding. So those are now more for understanding the grounding aspects and the sound that it makes. And if not, like the smoke and whatever, that makes more of a grounding aspect for people so that they can ground themselves to their own energy. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
Beautiful. Question number 2. How have you been able to use Reiki to find stillness in such a chaotic world?
So I'm going to say that one example that in order to answer that question, I'm going to say this. So when I first started my first class, a group Reiki circle class, which was very, very intimidating for me because it was my very first session. And I went into this class and I had a group of people and I was like very nervous, of course. I was like, oh, wow, I'm extremely nervous. And once I started it, I knew I was nervous, but then once I started it and we did this beautiful Reiki session for about an hour and a half, I myself just felt this calmness and relaxation within myself through the practice of giving Reiki to everybody else. And it was funny because after our class ended, I asked the class about the whole thing, and they said to me, like, you were very nervous, Dave. And I said, I know. I'm sorry. I know I was nervous. But they go, but after you did Reiki, you were just calm and relaxed and everything just kind of fell into place. And so that itself told me that Reiki helps me ground myself, even through preparations for things that maybe are very scary and complicated. And so I kind of always ground myself when I'm doing something that's very scary or different.
Beautiful. Third question.
Yeah.
Can you share a moment when you realized that the Reiki was making a difference in your life? Did you have that aha, it's working moment?
I had one client, I wouldn't say my very first client, but one of my first clients. He had major PTSD, very severe and very skeptical. And so and this is before I actually became a Reiki practitioner. I was like just doing my Reiki thing, and I knew what I was doing, but anyways, I treated him. He was kind of skeptical, and the next day after we did our treatment, he said to me, he goes, I've never had a better sleep in my life. He goes, I actually slept through 3 alarms. My son had to wake me up from a sleep, and he goes, my anxiety went away like a lot. And so that to me was proving, I don't want to be saying I have to prove to myself that my practice does something, but it is really wonderful to hear that sentiment from someone, from a client, to say, you know what, whatever you did for me, and it's been happening like constantly now, that everybody says what you do and what you're giving to me is had profound, beautiful treatments for me. So I love that. That to me is the icing on the cake. I love that kind of stuff. I love when people say that. So that is really.
So that was our last question. As we've been talking, is there something that you want to add or something that you have forgotten to say? The floor is yours.
Yeah. Okay. So there are scientific proofs about energy, about people's energy in their body. And one thing I want to try to explain to people is like I said previously, your body is like 99.99999% energy and 0.0001% matter. And in order to understand that on a quantum level, I really, truly want to put that into perspective for people. So if you took a football field, okay, and you put like a walnut in the very center of the field, and then that represents a nucleus. That's the size of the nucleus. And then you put something at the very end line, which is like the size of a raisin. That would represent the size and the distance of the electron that typically will always rotate around the nucleus. Think about how much space there is between that. That's a lot of space. And so that's the reason why Reiki does that. It's so important, because all of that stuff is just resonating. Like, you think about, oh, I'm just touching my hand, that's, matter. No, it's mostly vibrational energy. That's what it is. So I'm taking what's in your body, your energy levels, and I'm manipulating or just influencing what is happening to your body. Like, I'm just creating that energy sense of being to yourself. So I wanted to explain a little bit of a scientific thing for you guys. That was my thing to tell you about.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And tell us one more time where we can find you.
DALReiki.ca is the place to go. You can find all my contact information, my email, and all that stuff. So that is a place to go to. And I also offer free services. Just you want to call and say, how does this work? Blah, blah, blah. I have scheduling appointments for that too.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, David Andrew Larsen, for taking time out of your very busy schedule to take this Ready, Set, Reiki journey with me. I deeply appreciate it. And going back to my friend in Reiki, Christian Standing Stone, those of you listening, check out on Facebook, Reiki Business Collective. It's a great place to support each other. Christian's very encouraging, supporting, loving. I can't say enough beautiful things about him. And it's a great place he lets you advertise things and we cheer each other on. And it's just a great space. So if you feel that you're alone, reach out to there. You always have, both of us too to reach out to as well. So thank you, everyone. This is Tracy Seawright, and